My edible gift here is called, well, originally it was called a cheese straw or a cheese bite. I tend to call them a less flattering name, cheese blobs, because when I make them, they look a little blobby, but they taste good, and that's the important thing. So we start with, if you have a food processor, this is extremely handy. If not, you can mix this by hand, but it's much more work. I'm putting in 1 stick of cold butter, chopped up, but then it was put back in the refrigerator, so it's still cold, and 1½ cups of extremely sharp cheddar cheese. You could probably use another cheese if you have a cheese preference. This is what I always have, and I like it. Okay, now I'm gonna find the top to my food processor. Here we go. If I've got it on right. No, I don't think so. Let's try it this way. You can tell how often I use it. I don't think I got it on right. Yep, I did. So we're gonna pulse it. We might turn it on for just a second. You don't want it on for too long because you really don't want the butter to melt. That's why it's easier to do it in a food processor than in a mixer or by hand. Then we add a tiny bit of Worcestershire sauce. If you are serving vegetarians who don't eat fish, because Worcestershire sauce is made with anchovies, skip the Worcestershire. But I like the tang it gives the food. And it's only a little bit. They could be like 99% vegetarian and eat it. Okay, now we're gonna mix together 1 cup of flour, 2 teaspoons of paprika, that's for color, 1 teaspoon of Creole seasoning, and just a pinch of dry mustard, like, you know, you get it in a can. Pardon me. And we could whisk this, but I couldn't find my tiny whisk, so I'm just stirring it with a fork. And then that, I can smell that Creole seasoning. Goes in there. Whoops, did it wrong again. You have to get used to these machines. I may have it backwards. It's not happy with me. Okay, so pretend this works. I promise you it will work when I have it on right, but I don't want to waste your time. So basically, you're gonna mix that together. And when it's mixed together, you're gonna feel it with your hand. If you can press it into a form, like a ball, then you're ready to move on to the next step. If it's not quite pressable, add a tiny bit of very cold water, no more than a tablespoon, and you'll be able to do it. Then I take what I've got and I put it into 2 or 3 small balls. I wrap each ball in plastic wrap, and then I put it in a Ziploc bag, and then I put it in the refrigerator for at least an hour. When I take out one, I get ready to roll it. You don't want to roll it, and don't worry if you're rolling it lightly on flour, as you can see, but the flour will miraculously disappear as we bake. So I think that's thin enough. You don't want it too thin. This is about a little under 1/4 inch. You want it about 1/4 inch. And you can do various things for your blobs. So I like a little shape, a small shape, like this adorable snowflake. Come on, snowflake, show yourself. There. So that's pretty cute. Or you can just take a little piece and twist it a little bit. This is where it's going to look more like a cheese straw. But when I do it, it never looks completely like a cheese straw. But the important point is that it's going to be delicious. You can try braiding them together. You can do all sorts of things. You're going to put them you're going to put them on a cookie sheet topped with either silicone or parchment. And you're going to bake them at 375 for 10 to 12 minutes. Really don't go over 12. They just need to be so they're not pushing in the center. You don't want to overcook them because that takes away some of the cheesiness. And then this is the final product, and I had more, but my dog just ate them while we were getting ready to film. But you can see, here's one that I tried braiding. Not terribly successful, but you get the idea. Here's one of my straw-like substances. And here's some little snowflakes. So then you wrap them up and give them to someone. They'll last a few days if they're carefully wrapped. And they're really quite delicious. And you can probably make them look better than I can because this is not my specialty. But I like to eat them and I like to give them. So I wish you a Merry Christmas. I wish you a happy everything. I wish you a Merry Kwanzaa and a Happy New Year.